Welcome to Start Your Dungeons. I'm Bryce.
I'm Adam.
Today we're looking at what is this? It's Swords and Wizardry Complete.
Complete. It is the new printing. It's the revised edition of Swords and Wizardry Complete.
So, just recently been kickstarted. Adam got his copy from is it
Mythmere
Mythmere
Games.
Games?
Yeah.
So we are super excited for this coming out. So we decided we'd go through and kind of talk about it. This one's going to be a little bit different from our other ones because with it being a new one, we'll talk a little bit about the old edition as well because there's so much available for this.
Swords and Wizardry simulates the mechanics and the feeling of original Dungeons and Dragons. The books that started to be released in 1974. So we're talking about before Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, before the basic and expert set and the Mincer red box, the Holmes edition blue box, all that.
We're going back and
This is like original D&D, but the difference is that this cleans up all the structure so it's playable.
Right.
Because the original, I mean, seriously, I used to have the white box, the one that was reprinted in 2013, I think. It's unplayable. I don't know how people played it in 1974, but this playable.
We have played the original edition, so we're excited kind of for this one. But let's talk about the book overall. I mean, just looking at it, it's
beautiful.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
a beautiful book.
This is I think. I mean, I have every printing of Swords and Wizardry.
That is not a joke, people.
I do. Yeah. I have every Swords and Wizardry adventure that's been published officially. I've got lots of third-party stuff. This is my favorite one. It's clean. The errata has been included that that has been building over the years, and Matt Finch really did a great job this time.
I really like this book. We're looking at other books that are on the market now that are more famous for their layout being kind of sporadic and different or stylized with heavy art. This is nice because the art is here. Like, there's very much that pen and ink sort of style to it. Very simplistic, black and white. But it looks nice. Like,
Yeah.
It's a very nice, just white page with black lettering.
It's not sloppy.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I've criticized some books before because the artwork and the layout I get the heavy metal aesthetic. I get it.
I wasn't going to name it.
We're not going to name it. I'm just saying sometimes there are books that the aesthetic is taking priority over the practicality of the book.
Right.
And this book does not do that. It's
Right.
beautiful and it's useful.
Right. 100%. And it's just like, it's a high quality printed book. Like, I think it looks nice. I mean, this cover is honestly one of my favorite. Like, does it tell you what it is? Not really, but it looks super cool and simple.
And there's also, you can get there's two other covers on Drive-Thru RPG. So you can get them, print on demand. One of them has an Errol Otis cover with a big, caterpillar looking thing. And the first time I looked at it and was like, I don't really like that. No, that was old me. That was dumb. I'm going to get one.
He's like, I will have one of each printing.
I am.
Let's talk about Swords and Wizardry and getting into this. So, talking about getting into the game, let's talk about a player. And I'll talk about that because I actually have experience, at least with the older edition, and I actually built a character really quickly to try and see how this was. The front of the book is literally just, hey, first 4 pages, build a character. Like, it's rolling 3d6 down the line. We are not rolling 4d6. We're not dropping anything, people. Like, it is go down. And I like that about sort of, like, every time we've played, and every time I make a character, I always tell Adam, I rolled 3c6 down the line, and whatever I get is what I play. Unless it's really bad, and then Adam's like, you're just going to have to reroll all of it, because that's horrid. Yeah. But, like, it is something that you can kind of, as a player, it feels pretty easy to do. It is a little bit different from more modern systems where you do have the roll under for saves and different things, or no, roll above for saves, which is a little bit different, but it's still like, I don't feel like it's hard to get into, and because it's not like, again, not like modern gaming where we have a lot of things, even though we love and we talked how much we love Pathfinder 2e, there's a lot at level 1 you don't get really a whole lot for your character
Right.
class. It's as you level up you go. Another thing that I thought was really cool in this was it goes all the way up past 20
Yeah.
instead of in the first one book where it was only up till 10.
Yeah. And it depends. So it depends on which class or which class that you're playing and which ancestry. There, replace the word race because race is kind of a loaded term.
Yeah.
So some of the characters can't go above a certain level.
Yeah.
So, like a halfling, isn't going to be able to become like a level 20 fighter. But that's because they get bonuses. They get some extra stuff.
I've always played a human in this. I don't think I've ever. I think one time I played like an elf in the original when we played like a little one shot thing, and I actually kind of like that there's not all these ridiculous races. In fact, I think you should just play with only humans in this game. I actually think that's more fun personally. But
yeah, one thing about making characters in this version, this revised edition, is you can buy PDFs of the character packs. So you go on the Mythmere Games website and you just get a PDF, and what it is it's the character description with the leveling stats and
nice.
everything. Yeah, and you just print them off with your character sheet, and then they also have the spell books for the spellcasters, and then you just stick them into a like a book report folder, and
That's
you just
kinda
have
cool.
you just have it all, and it's just the pieces that come out of the book, but they gave it to you as I think $3 PDFs.
That's kind of nice. That's similar to like when we did the reviews for the 5th edition starter sets. How it was like these character sheets on the back will tell you at level 2 you get this and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about being a DM in this game. I mean, I know you've done it a bunch. Talk about it.
I've probably been a dungeon master in this game is called a referee. I have been a Swords and Wizardry referee a lot over the last decade or so.
I've played in at least 5 or 6 things that you've run.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, this is my favorite role playing game, and I like OSR stuff, the old school role playing, and out of all of them, this is my favorite. So it's easy, and it's self-contained. It has guidance on being a referee, and it's clearly written. Super simple.
Does it have monsters in it?
It has your monsters.
I could not remember if it had the monsters.
Yeah, it has your monsters. It has your treasure. It has rules for like things like travel and exploration. It has everything. It's got
Which
all
is
your
really
spells.
nice because this book is only 140 something pages,
And it has everything.
right? Like it's impressive to do that much in a book, considering how a lot of other games, they're 300-page rule books or more.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the rule set. Let's talk about things we like. Don't gush too long.
I will try not to.
I know.
I mean, it's a D20 system.
Right.
You're rolling a D20, and now I will say this for people who aren't used to Swords and Wizardry. There's 2 different ways that you can play your attacks and your armor class. So the default in this game is the descending armor class.
Right.
So, the lower your stat for armor class, the better. It's almost like, it makes no sense to modern brains.
Right.
But it also includes in little brackets, it tells you the ascending armor class,
Which I like.
Yeah, which is what you're used to. Yeah. The higher the number, the harder to hit.
Right.
So it includes both. And so if you are accustomed to Dungeons and Dragons, rolling a d20, adding a modifier, and trying to hit an armor class, you're good to go.
Is there anything about this you don't like? Okay.
And this has less to do with the game itself and more about the way that our brains handle this game. We are used to playing games where we can defeat the monsters every time.
That's something I was gonna say. That's my only complaint is so fun fact about me playing Adam's games, out of those 6 games, in the first fights that ever happened, in the first encounters we ever did, only 2 of them did I ever live through. Yeah. I died in 4 of the 6 before the end of the first campaign adventure we had.
You have to consider the fact that sometimes you can run away.
Yeah.
And if you're a referee, allow your players the chance to run away because there are some fights that are not survivable.
Even at low levels, I mean, it's this is, we were playing a small campaign for a little bit, and in it you were like, oh, there's this one town where there's some sturges running around, and we all went, nope, we're just gonna die, and we're all level 2, but we're all gonna die, and it definitely feels. And this is not my problem with it, per se, is that you don't have a lot. You're more normal, almost human in a way, like a more basic kind of look to how you build a character. It's not a bad thing. I think it adds a little bit of more complexity to the game because of it. But it is sometimes hard when the first time I've ever played a role-playing game, I roll up a monk and then Adam kills him with a goblin in one hit. It was hard. That was 12 years ago, and I'm still playing this game. So, my first RPG experience was getting killed. So, I can only go up from there.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that, if you're looking to get into this, don't think it's like 5th edition or Pathfinder. Yeah. Your character, you might die. You're
not a superhero,
right?
Just make sure that. If your character's squishy and you only have 4 hit points, run away.
Right. I think I remember, wizards, they're at the beginning, they have nothing. You have a sling with rocks because you're I can cast sleep and that's it.
Yeah.
That once per day and that's it. Yeah. So it's
and clerics can't cast a healing spell at first level.
Right.
Because they have to, and this is the way I interpret it, they have to prove to their god that they're worthy of it.
I think that's cool.
So, yeah.
So let's talk about this being, we talked a little bit about already, is this a complete game? You just need this?
Absolutely. Now you can expand it. So let's talk about some ways that you can expand it. So this is directly from the Kickstarter, but you can go to the Mythmere Games website, which we'll link below, and you can order it. So there's a solo adventure by So this is written by Ben Barsh, who's pretty well known in the Swords and Wizardry community, and I read through it. I haven't played through it yet. Kind of flipped through to see what all
I expect us probably to review that. We've been enjoying doing some solo adventure stuff.
I'm 100% on board with the solo adventure, and the Legacy of Blackscale Lagoon, written by James Spahn. If you know anything about Swords and Wizardry, especially the white box edition, you will know James Spahn and Barrel Rider Games.
That cover sells it alone.
Yeah, with all of James Spahn's materials, he leans into Swords and Wizardry and gives you a magnificent experience with every adventure. But I would also say, if you want to expand it,
that thing is insane. So, talk about this, because this is actually something I don't own, and I flipped through it once and went, every person who ever runs a role-playing game should own this book.
Yeah. So this was the first book that Mythmere Games released before the new edition of Swords and Wizardry. So this is after Matt Finch left Frog God Games. And there's all these other editions of Swords and Wizardry out there. But see, now it's kind of like a reset. It's a reset for the company.
Right.
And the Tome of Adventure Design, it is absolutely everything that you need to build an adventure. And
that's not just for Swords and Wizardry. This is for any game.
This is really system neutral.
Talk about the side.
Yeah, panels. So on the sides of the page, you have these just these little words. They're like seeds for your creativity,
and they're random, so they don't even have to deal with what's on the page. And a lot of this is charts, rolls, and different things. But anything along these lines, It's for building. Like, it's so cool, and they don't repeat.
Yeah.
They're all random different words on the sidelines that you get to go through and like make this entire setting for whatever game you want, world. Like, it's so cool.
And he so Matt Finch leaves a foreword at the beginning of the book that the words on the sides are called the apophenia engine. So it's really just there as prompts to get your mind going. And honestly, I every time I flip through the book, I just catch myself looking over there.
Right.
It was like, oh my gosh, that's genius.
Yeah. Like, it's really cool.
You could literally just flip through the book, point your finger in, and just come up with something amazing.
Yeah, that's an amazing book.
But like, this is totally optional.
Right.
You could play everything with this book and be done. You don't need this. But if you got this...
But you do need it.
I'm just going to say, if you did get this, you would be a legendary Swords and Wizardry referee.
Right.
Just don't tell your players.
Yeah, like I think any game, it's a great system thing to pick up.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about who this is for. Now, would you recommend Swords and Wizardry for new players for role-playing games and then also for seasoned?
All right, so I think this is a good book for new players. If you started with this, your expectations about role-playing games would be very different.
I think
I can say that with with a lot of confidence because I took a long hiatus from playing role-playing games, close to 10 years. And then I came back, and the first game that I got was the Swords and Wizardry core book. I had it as a PDF, and then I got it in this Lulu.com printed format. And, then I got the Swords and Wizardry white box, and...
Which I have that at the house, yeah.
All the others. It was so easy. It's so easy as a new referee. It's easy as a new player.
I will say, before I had started playing role-playing games, I had only played D&D 4th edition starter box. We kind of fudged the rules. It was me and my buddy playing. It was whatever. But my first actual real role-playing game experience was you teaching me this. And, this was so much easier than I thought it would be. And, I was very surprised that for someone who never played a role-playing game, how easy it was to kind of get into this idea of who my character was and how I did things and, the rolling of the stats and stuff. I didn't struggle as much.
It's, and I think a lot of that comes down to the mindset of the author and the early versions of the game, which was just kind of make it up as you go along.
Right.
It really, it's trying to get you to do cooperative storytelling and not just rolling dice to play a math game.
Right.
This is about cooperative storytelling.
100%. So, obviously, we play this, we love this, but as a player and DM, would you, if you had picked this up, this was your first time ever playing this with this copy, would you want to try out and play more of the game based on this?
I think so. Right now, it's a very unusual time for role-playing games because of the whole open game license issue. This is no longer produced under the Wizards of the Coast open game license. This is now the what's it called? The Creative Commons version of the OGL. But what's going to happen is, at some point, instead of using that Creative Commons license, it might go to another license. And
there's the new Orc license.
Yeah, there's a new Orc license. So the thing is that this is a good place to start. It's good to get on the ground floor of this right now.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of similar games out there. Right now, Old School Essentials is super popular. Right. Lots of people play it.
There's the new Dolmenwood Kickstarter's coming.
Yeah.
I think there's been a resurgence over the last few years. There was a resurgence, I think, that started with Morkborg kind of bringing people back into it. Then we have like this coming back out with a revised edition after the split from Frog God, and like
There's a new Labyrinth Lord coming.
yeah, like there's so much stuff.
Eventually,
I think that it's really cool that there's so much of this stuff that's just literally like, this is just a simple system, but here's my little take on it. And you know, I think Matt Finch is somebody who really gets this old school feel, and I think me trying the game like this again, this was in this edition, but playing originally Swords and Wizardry like as a player, I mean, I remember that next week I DM'd my first 4th edition role playing game. Like I was like, I gotta play this, like I gotta do it. And you know, that was what, now we've been friends for 10-12 years, and like, that's how it started. Like that's
just keep going.
This game got me into it, you know, and like maybe I don't play it as much, or you know, I kind of like other games now.
Yeah,
more,
we got lots of other games that we play,
but this is always something that like the one shot weekends we want to do or something fun. Like this one's always a good one to throw down and play. And like I said, it's trying to up my percentage of how many times I survive it and not die. So yeah, I just think, you know, if you're looking to get into the Dungeons and Dragons kind of settings and worlds, and you're not looking to spend a whole lot of money too, and just buy one book,
it's very affordable.
This is a really good one to start with, and I think it has, if you're willing to put in the time and effort to expand it and learn the rule set and become familiar with it, this is endless adventures. And I think you know, Matt Finch is he knocked it out of the park with this edition.
Yep, I agree.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for listening. Again, if you have played Swords and Wizardry, either the older editions, or if you like this new edition, you know, leave it in the comments and let us know a little bit about what you think about it. And then until next time, take care, y'all.
Bye.